Alright, welcome to our 5th installment of our Spoiled Sports podcast.
5 already, huh? Great. Welcome back.
I can't believe I got 5 out of you that are usable.
That are usable. Well, we'll see. Maybe you can get 6. Maybe not. I don't know. I do have several contract offers. Just want you to know.
Yeah, okay. Alright, our first topic for discussion today is going to be the Masters and what occurred at the Masters last Sunday while we were recording. Jordan Spieth blew it at the Masters last Sunday with a, what was that, double bogey?
Quad.
A quad bogey?
A quad bogey. 7 on the 12th. It's bad.
That's very bad.
2 in the water. That's why they call it Amen Corner.
Yeah, he put a couple of them into the water, right?
Yep, 2.
Yeah.
One from the tee and one from the drop area.
Yeah, when I saw the 7, I figured he had to have put it in the water at least twice.
Yeah. Well, the whole backside on the Augusta is tons of water. That's why there've been some classic collapses there.
You think Spieth can't recover?
Oh yeah, sure. He's really young. There's no reason he shouldn't. I mean, it might even help him down the road to know to play that last 9 holes differently if he's ever in that position again.
And he's choked. Now he's choked. He's done it. He's gotten it out of the way.
Yeah, most likely. The only guy who I can't say that about is Norman. He tended to do that a lot.
Yeah.
He had several occasions. If he does it a second time, then it's going to be a problem going forward from that point on, I think. Sometimes that gets in your head if it happens more than once.
Do you think Spieth is still for real? I mean, he's still, what, in his first year? He's technically over a year now. His first win was that Masters win. Do you think he's for real, or do you think this is actually who he's going to be now?
I think this is what he's going to be. I mean, something could happen. There could be... Things happen to golfers' swings all the time. They get a little out of whack. That's why these professional golfers, they actually have swing coaches. You would think that they have it down pat by now, but the smallest thing can go wrong, and they could lose it for a while. And then there's always injuries. There's always back trouble. But the fact that Spieth is so young, injury is probably not going to come into it for 10, 12 years. And I see him continuing to be a good player.
Yeah, he's young enough to where he still has so much career left.
Mm-hmm.
To let this define his career and to think this is where he goes downhill and never reaches where he's been again is ridiculous. He's not going to be the next Tiger Woods,
right?
In either sense, in a sense of success or a sense of after this collapse, he's never going to be the same. He's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. He's just a damn good player. There's a lot of damn good players out there now too. Fowler and all of those guys.
And if you're going to choke, at least he choked on a hard course on the biggest stage in the PGA. Like, if you choke just like at Waialae, at the Hawaiian International at Waialae.
Well, another thing, if he choked at the Greater Hartford Open,
yeah,
no one would know, care, or forget it in a week.
Yeah.
So, there've been some notable chokes at the Masters. There was Curtis Strange. There was the Frenchman Van der Velde. Both went into Rays Creek, and that was the end of them. The greatest comeback, Nicklaus. You can't really think of Nicklaus's great comeback without thinking of Ballesteros going for the green to he wanted to putt for eagle on 15 into the water, and that cost him. So that's just an incredible difficult backside.
And we all know how much Pee Wee loves backsides.
That's right, especially a difficult one.
All right, we're done with golf. That segment's in the hole.
Oh.
What, did you have more?
Well, the only thing I wanted to say was this week, it's not just the Masters, golf in general.
No, it's just the Masters.
No, the Heritage is going on.
Who cares about that?
At Hilton Head, that's a great tournament.
Fine, talk about that tournament.
Okay. This week we have the RBC Heritage at Hilton Head, South Carolina. one of the most picturesque courses as well. The fact that it follows the Masters is really, really kind of coincidental, but it's on its own, it's a great tournament. The guy leading that, Luke Donald, going into the final round, and he has a one-stroke lead over Jason Kokrak. And I just wanted to mention that Luke Donald could be the second Englishman in a row to win a tournament on the PGA. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Now we're done with golf. We're going to move on to something I'm sure everyone else cares about a lot more. Not just because golf is golf, but because it's the NBA playoffs. And the Cavs play in about 3 hours from now. We're recording noon on Sunday.
The mighty Pistons.
Yeah. Like Mitch Albom said on the show this morning, they're just praying for one win out of the Pistons, which is all we wished for last year when they opened up with Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But the Cavs shouldn't have trouble with the Pistons. Really, the Cavs shouldn't have trouble with anyone in the East. I think their biggest challenge is themselves.
Right. Whatever's going on internally from one day to the next is always funny with them. Last year they dealt with injuries. This year they're dealing with player chemistry and the fact that they changed coaches in the midstream. Well, that's a concern for me. You would, even if Tyrone Lue had coached all year, you would be concerned, well, this is his first year coaching as a head coach. It's also his first year in the playoffs as a head coach. Well, he doesn't even have a full season under him as a playoff coach.
Yeah.
You got half a season under him, and I think a lot of eyes are going to be on him, how he handles things.
Yeah, it could very well be. Of course, he's living up to a big shadow where Blatt brought him to the finals in his first year.
Well, yeah.
Too. And Kerr on the other side of things.
That's true. 2 rookie coaches, I guess, last year.
First time they've ever faced off in the finals.
So this will set an even bigger precedent with half a rookie coach.
Yeah.
Getting to the finals.
Yeah, it will. Only half a season.
Even more impressive than last year.
And technically, he's not even the head coach. That's LeBron.
Well.
LeBron's the unofficial head coach.
He does what LeBron does. And, basically they're not going anywhere without him, so that's it. That's just the way it is. They've got some players. They play a lot of half-court basketball. We'll see what Love and Irving can contribute, because they're going to have to do their part too.
Yeah, Irving hasn't had a great season.
Really?
No, he's not. He's not passing the ball well. He's not scoring as well as he should. He's coming off very selfish this season. Last year he was great. He had that 50-something point game against the Spurs where he was 5 for 5 from three-point land. He's never had any of those games this year, plus he's been injured for the first portion.
Well, that's true. Well, hopefully he stays healthy through the playoffs. The thing is that they say that the playoffs is a whole new season, and I agree with that. I've seen such turnarounds in the playoffs where it doesn't even look like the same team. And that's the best part about the playoffs is you can just draw a line in the sand and say, okay, we start over.
Like a 7 seed could knock off a 2 seed.
It happens.
Which is what Indiana's on their way to do already.
They're
already up in that series 1-0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a surprise. But
yeah, but I mean, if you think about the experience, and if you haven't caught on, we're moving past the Cavs matchup now. Yeah. Indiana has more playoff experience than Toronto does. Mm-hmm. They've been in the playoffs, 5 straight years now?
That's right, and for years they were a contender.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a new thing for Toronto. There's plenty of time for that to catch up and take form.
That series is not going the way of Toronto so far, but, I mean, just one game. Granted, the most shocking part about that is Game 1's in Toronto, and they took it in Toronto.
Right. Uh-huh. Yeah.
What a confidence boost they ought to have now.
Yeah, well, now they have home court advantage. Mm-hmm. Simple as that.
Next matchup is the Heat and the Hornets. The Heat with the 3 seed. How did Miami move up so far to get the 3 seed? Well, Atlanta was there and Boston was there, but
well, we know who finished strong.
Yeah, I don't think Miami has a chance.
Chance at what?
Well, I mean, they have a chance to beat Charlotte, the Hornets, but I don't think they're actually a title contender. I don't think anyone in the East is a title contender other than Cleveland.
Yeah, pretty much people are just kind of handing Cleveland a free ride to the finals, which is why it'd be such a disappointment if they don't make it to the finals. Because it's not like they made it last year so they should make it this year. It's they should make it this year because there's very little opposition on that side.
Yeah.
So,
like, and Jay and I were discussing this the other night. He thinks the East is a lot better than the West. The West may have the top 3 teams that can compete with the Cavs, but he said that the East is more balanced after that one dominant team. Okay, they may be balanced, but it's a balanced turd. It's still crap.
Yeah,
Miami's a 3 seed. Toronto's a 2. Granted, Toronto's I think is clearly the 2.
Yeah,
but it's just a bunch of crap. It's just even crap.
Well, he came up with a lot of qualifications to call it more balanced.
Yeah.
After Cleveland, after the best.
Yeah.
The rest of them are equally crappy.
Yeah, and plus they have Philly. We have Philly over here. We have New York over here. We have Brooklyn over here. We have a lot of teams to get a lot of easy wins off of.
Yeah, not good.
And I mean, they have the Lakers over there, and he brought up the Suns, but the Suns still aren't an easy beat. They upset plenty of teams this year.
Yeah, there were a couple good teams that, and that's what I would call them as good teams, like the Celtics and the Hawks, and the teams that are making the first part of the playoffs are home teams, and they're good teams, but they're not going anywhere.
All right, the next matchup is the 4 seed and the 5 seed. Atlanta got the 4, and the Celtics got the 5, and the Hawks already lead that series 1 game to none.
Yeah, well, so the Celts won't be having a first round home advantage. The Hawks got that. The Celts did play a decent game down there, lost by a point. But they didn't show up for the first half, so that's kind of where they got off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, and they outscored the Hawks by a considerable margin in the second half, but still wasn't enough.
They crushed them, but they just show you how much the Hawks outplayed them in the first half.
And the Celtics lost Bradley for a little bit.
Yeah, what's
a hamstring injury.
Okay.
But I can't get any legitimate news on it.
That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to find out more specifics. I couldn't even get what exactly it was.
But the hamstring worries you because that's an injury that lingers.
Mm-hmm. It does.
So if he's not going to be the same.
Yeah, that's why they're worrying, that he's a big loss, because it doesn't look like it's something he's going to bounce back from quickly if that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. And the Hawks, well, we had trouble with the Hawks this season.
Well, they've always played us tough.
Yeah.
Even in the days of Larry Bird, traditionally the Hawks had Dominique Wilkins, and they had some great series back then. They just seemed to be always a matchup for us.
And they were the 1 seed last year, so they have experience in the playoffs. They have the talent to compete.
Yeah.
I think if any team in the East could surprise the Cavaliers and the other teams in the East, it could be Atlanta, but it's still a stretch.
Yeah, that's true. If they go back to the form of how they played last year when they crushed the regular season.
Yeah. I think that was kind of fluky last year though. But if any team could surprise.
Yeah, they got some real talent. They're a good team, good playoff team, but again, anyone who knocks off the Cavs is going to turn the East into a crapshoot.
Yeah. All right. And we'll go to the West now. You have the Warriors and the Rockets matchup, where the Warriors blew out the Rockets in Game 1, take a 1-game lead, but Curry tweaked his ankle.
Yeah, they smoked him. We'll see. I guess he has a history of ankle issues.
Yeah, he does.
And,
look at him. His legs are like sticks.
Well, yeah, it's something he's experienced before. I saw a little bit of it on film, and you could see him on the bench, and he's just constantly working the right ankle, just trying to see just how bad it was.
It didn't look too bad, unless I was missing the actual moment where he twisted it or sprained it, but I never saw a twist or anything.
And then when he walked off, It almost looked like a normal walk.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem like much of a limp, if anything. Nothing I could notice. So
and he didn't have crutches afterwards.
so we're gonna have to wait to hear more information on that because it doesn't sound like, at this point, it's something that's shown up really.
And honestly, they don't even need Curry to win this series. The Rockets barely made the playoffs.
True, I've heard.
And they struggled all season. And they're playing physical. So.
A lot of people would say, don't even take a chance with him. Sit him the next game. Sit him the next 2 games.
Especially where Houston plays so physical.
Right.
You're just risking another injury with Curry.
Right.
And that's the way you have to beat the Warriors, like Delhi did in the finals. He was on Curry like glue.
Yeah. If I was Kerr, I would definitely sit him the next home game. And if they go up 2-0, I'd probably sit him in the road game. If they go 3-0, he wouldn't see the hardwood at all in the first round. If he could probably potentially sweep them. So.
And now last week I said the Warriors wouldn't get 73, and I was
did.
wrong. I was right they beat San Antonio, but I was wrong. They beat Memphis.
Yeah.
Did Memphis even... Memphis did get the 7 seed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they actually even needed to win that game. It doesn't sound like they needed to win it.
They must have had it clinched.
Yeah, they probably tanked.
It could be. Yeah. Well, speaking of tanking.
Well, I'm not...
We'll talk about more tanking later on.
Warriors got the 73 wins, but that means absolutely nothing if they don't win the championship this year.
True.
Are there any 70-win teams that didn't win a championship? They always win. They're always a dominant team.
I would think so. I couldn't tell you if that's ever happened. There have been some favorites that have not come through and some upsets, but don't know if the favorites were in the high 60s or low 70s with wins.
Yeah, the Warriors have to win the championship or the 73 means absolutely nothing. Oh, you were the best team in the regular season? Congratulations. You win the championship? No? Screw you. Who cares?
No one cares.
You choked in the playoffs. That's the only part of the season that matters.
No one
Once you
pays
make
attention.
Yeah.
Rarely do they pay attention. There's only a few teams that have had such great teams great seasons in any sport that they remember the disappointment. Like the time that the Mariners won 116 and then went nowhere. But
yeah.
It's very few teams like that in any sport.
All right, we'll move on to the next matchup, which is the Spurs and Grizzlies. The Spurs are that 2 seed. Memphis is the 7. That series starts tonight at 8, Sunday night. I don't think the Spurs will have trouble with Memphis at all.
Shouldn't. I guess Marc Gasol's out.
Is he?
Yes, that's what I heard. Heard that something today. No Gasol. I'm not sure for how long.
Oh, they have no chance then.
Yeah, right.
No chance.
There's nothing happening for them. That's right.
On to the next series. Oklahoma City and another team that has no chance in Dallas. The Thunder blew them out in Game 1.
They did.
And the Mavericks past Dirk Nowitzki have absolutely no one.
That's right. The Thunder against Dirk and 4 other guys should be pretty quickly over. I don't know what Mark Cuban's going to think about that, whether he's going to make mass changes next year or what, but we're pretty much writing them off pretty quick.
Yeah, well, they need to get Dirk some help.
Mm-hmm.
They have nobody behind him, and he's not even a guy who can take over a team and lead an upset anymore.
No,
he's older.
He's not even the real Dirk. He's older Dirk.
Yeah, no chance. And I like Oklahoma City too. They're a good team. But the good LA team, the Clippers, and Portland. Last year we didn't see a lot out of Portland because of injuries, but this year they're healthy. Do you think they can make a run?
Sure, I think they can. I think that's probably one of the few series that actually shapes up as competitive.
And we'll see if the Clippers play like they usually do in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
Choking.
That's the one thing, and Portland has a tendency to overachieve in the playoffs, from what I've seen. So that's why I think that could go either way.
I think a lot of Clippers players are overrated, including Blake Griffin. He can dunk. He's a great dunker. He can rebound, but he's just not that shooter. He's not that offensive force that he's getting credit as.
Yeah, he's not the guy who, if they lost him, would kill him and be like the point guard.
Yeah. If Chris Paul went down, they'd be nothing.
It'd be all over.
I don't think they have enough. I don't think they're a legit contender in the West. I think Portland's more of a contender than LA.
Probably. And you get those 4 and 5 matchups, and it's a toss-up in my mind. Sometimes even at 3 and 6, but definitely 4 and 5. They're one game apart. All it is home court. One game, and the whole series flips.
All right. So looking at the matchups right away, what's your shot in the dark call for the NBA Finals?
The final, I still think we're going to see. Obviously, I'm going to take the surest pick, and that's the Cavs. And I think we're going to see a rematch. I think we're going to see Warriors-Cavs.
Do you?
Yep, I do. I can't. I mean, if I have to pick a dark horse, I'm going to pick the Thunder. I'm going to say, okay, they're the...
Took my pick.
Well, great minds think alike. You come from good genes.
I could very easily go with the Spurs. I don't think the Warriors are going to get there. I think they wore themselves out in the regular season. Yeah. And a three-point shooting team, if they ever get cold, they're a very easy beat, as we saw with Orlando and LA in that final.
Right.
The Magic got hot against the Cavs, knocked them off in the Eastern Conference Finals, then laid an egg against the Lakers.
Yeah. So, it's... Yeah, I just think that they're so darn strong on that three-point shot, and everyone makes it on their team.
That's their defense.
You know, yeah.
You want to get a 2? Go ahead, take a 2. We'll get a 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You still come out 1 point ahead. That's their defense.
That's the way they outscore people.
Yeah, I'll go with Spurs, Cavs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the only thing that bothers me about the Spurs is every year it's the same issue. Is this the year they don't have enough in the tank? You know, is this the year that they sputter?
Nah.
No,
No, they have good young talent in Leonard.
That's
they
true.
have some young guys that are coming up.
Kawhi's got to be the guy.
And they're keeping the old guys on to mentor them and keep up what they've been doing because they've been so consistent. Kind of like when they passed the torch to Duncan.
I'll agree with you that way. I might be a little premature thinking that they're just going to get old in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right.
Okay, so you're going to take...
Spurs, Cavs.
Spurs, Cavs, and I got a repeat of last year with a different outcome.
You think the Cavs are going to beat
the
Warriors?
All the way. This is the year. LeBron has to do it. It's the last year of his contract. And can you imagine if they don't or if they disappoint?
Yeah, I can imagine that.
But you no.
Who can't imagine that?
I can imagine that happening. What I can't imagine is the reaction. Oh, he's leaving. Oh, where you going, LeBron?
They're already saying he's going to leave.
God.
There's already the rumors out there.
But still, can we play some basketball? Can we finish the basketball season first?
All right, we'll go to a player who has finished his season in his career in Kobe, who scored 60 in his last game against Utah.
What a guy. What a performance.
Oh, yeah, one of the best of all time. I've never seen anyone score more points when another team wasn't trying.
Olé!
It's really not much of a story. I mean, ESPN's making it up to be a story because they want those ratings from the game and people to tune in to see the highlights, but they had no intention of actually stopping Kobe.
Yeah. At least the commentators, when they talked about it after the game, said, this was kind of a Hollywood production. This is a scripted event.
Yeah, there wasn't much to it.
The camera shots were just all well prepared. They knew just who to zoom in on and when. It's almost like, they knew exactly. I wonder if they had a rehearsal.
Yeah, they probably did have a rehearsal before they let people in. They're practicing.
Yeah, obviously, the guy had a hell of a career. A tremendous scorer, and they got to let him go out the way they want to let him go out. The only thing better would have been if he'd have been playing on a championship team, but the Lakers are far from that.
Oh, yeah. And that's all we'll talk about Kobe.
Done.
Because just like that game, this is a production, and we get to choose how it ends. And it ends now.
Yeah.
We'll switch things over to baseball now, where the season is about halfway done with its first month.
That far along?
Yeah.
Seems like just yesterday.
Yeah, it does seem like just yesterday, because the Indians' opener was like 5 days ago.
That's right.
And I love how everyone's already panicking about the Indians. They're 5-4.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
And they're panicking.
Really?
Oh yeah, people were panicking about the Indians. Oh, we're already not playing like we're supposed to. One, this is probably their best start in the last 4 years.
Normally there's something like 3-9 right now.
And the fact that they haven't been playing consistently. It's hard to get on a roll and a win streak when every other game is canceled or stuff's postponed.
And people have to understand that they have tremendous pitching. And that's going to keep them in contention all year. They're not going to have long losing streaks with this pitching staff. Unless they have massive injuries, lose Kluber and Carrasco and Salazar all at the same time. They are going to be solid pitching, and they have more than one stopper in the staff.
Jay made a prediction, a bold and ballsy prediction, that he says Carrasco is going to have a better year than Kluber.
Cy Young for Carrasco?
What do you think about that? You think Carrasco is going to outpitch Kluber this season?
Well, he's going to have to take a huge step forward to do that, because Kluber has already reached that level, and he consistently reaches that level. He's consistent.
This season, will Carrasco have a better season than Kluber?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, he might have more wins,
Yeah.
because half the time that doesn't even depend on the pitcher.
Yeah.
Depends on the offense and the defense.
Yeah.
I think Kluber is as consistent as you can get. Sinker ballers are very consistent.
He could have a better season, okay? But that would entail Cleveland not scoring runs for Kluber.
Which they don't.
Which happens. So basically, the wins and losses could look that way.
So you're saying Carrasco could have more wins, but his numbers aren't going to be better?
He won't be a better pitcher. I think he just could be
Okay, that's what I've been saying this whole time.
Oh. I'm glad you finally were able to get that clear enough for someone to understand.
Mm-hmm. I think if anyone could blow up, Carrasco has a better chance of blowing up, because all you have to do is time his fastball. He's a hard thrower. You just have to time his pitches, and you can light him up. And with Kluber, even if you time that sinker, you're still going to hit it right in the dirt half the time.
Right. He knows. He has more pitches. He knows when to use them. He has more experience, obviously. He is the better pitcher, but on a one-season basis, Carrasco could do it.
We'll stay in the Central for a little bit longer. You have the Royals and the White Sox at the tops with 8-3 records, and Detroit right behind them with a 7-3, and Minnesota at the bottom of the barrel with 2-9. Is anything surprising you out of the gates here?
Not really. Nothing really surprising. Well, yes, the White Sox. I didn't think that. I don't think that they're a force to be reckoned with or a concern for anyone. The fact that they got off to a hot start, it could happen. I don't see them staying for the long haul, though.
I'm surprised Kansas City's already lost 3 games.
You're picking them to be undefeated at this point.
Oh, yeah. Well, I knew Kansas City was going to be amazing last year.
Yeah.
I don't know why no one else saw it. And they're not getting respect again this year.
Well, I don't understand that. They're basically the same team, roughly. They still have... they still have the same players. They could do the same thing. They could win it all again.
I'm not too surprised with the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the team to challenge for a wild card spot. Probably not win the division. Detroit's right around where I thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
They're still a good team. They don't have the pitching anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to be a team to contend with. I'm not surprised with the Twins at 2-9 because last year I didn't expect them to do that well.
Mm-hmm.
They were amazing last year somehow, some way. And this is what I expected out of them last year, and it's what I expected this year. 2-9 to start it out. So
they're a weird team. Yeah, you never know. Sometimes they catch lightning in a bottle and they play well for a year and challenge, but they certainly don't spend a lot of money and scare anyone.
We'll go up to the AL East now with another team that's a bottom dweller, and I didn't expect to do anything last year and somehow did. And this year they're about right where you would think they would be, and that's Tampa Bay. Last year they competed last year just like the Twins did. Not as well, but they did the first half of the season. They were leading the East quite a bit last year.
Well, they didn't finish last, did they?
No, they didn't.
All right then.
They were supposed to.
Yeah, but so I guess they overachieved, and the team that they beat kind of underachieved.
And so you have the Rays at 4-7, then right above them the Yankees at 4-6, Toronto at 5-7, Boston at 6-4, and Baltimore at 8-3.
Yeah, Baltimore and Boston out of the gate well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
especially because Boston's been taking down Toronto, who was the favorite in the East.
Yep. So that division looks like it should look, I think, in my opinion. The Rays at the bottom, Orioles, Red Sox at the top, with the Jays right behind them. Nothing remarkable about the start, I think, on that side.
Yeah, Baltimore's a good club. I am a little surprised they're at the tops because they don't have the strongest pitching.
Mm-hmm.
But really, nobody in the AL East has really strong pitching right now. It's all staffs that could be good, and the aces are fine with them. You have Archer in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
You have Stroman in Toronto. You have Price in Boston. I don't even know the aces for Baltimore. Is it technically Ubaldo?
I guess.
Or Tillman? Or Britton's in the pen, but, I mean, it seems like their rotation's always held together with glue and Band-Aids.
That whole division has like maybe 3, maybe 4 number ones, and every other pitcher is like a 2 through a 4.
Yeah.
So
It's an offensive division, and it always has been, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're just gonna have to see how it shakes out. I have probably again overrated the Red Sox.
Oh, yeah.
Especially their pitching. I keep thinking they're gonna get hot. They're gonna be consistent. Well, geez, we saw Buchholz pitch. He was horrid against the Indians, and then he
had a good outing against
Then he had
Toronto.
a good one, you said.
Yeah.
So, boy, if he's going to be up and down, I don't know. Usually the first part of the year is his good part. So maybe he just had one stinker.
Maybe Cleveland's offense is just that much better than Toronto's.
Well, I don't know. I'd go that far. I would say
No.
Cleveland's offense has improved.
Oh, yeah.
But
Napoli's been great.
oh, he sure has.
Great. And we'll go to the West now. You have Texas leading that at 7-6. Then Los Angeles and Seattle at 5-6. Oakland at 5-7. And Houston at 4-8. What's jumping out at you there?
Texas, I guess.
Really?
Actually being over 500.
They led it last year.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess maybe that's true. Maybe they do tend to start out hot.
No, I mean, like, they made the playoffs last year. Don't you remember the whole thing in Toronto?
Oh, yeah, that's right. But I don't
They
know.
were great last year.
That just goes to show you they don't impress me ever, even when they're good. Even then, when they're good, they're disappointing. Nothing to... well, I don't know. The only thing about that division is the Astros. They were
that's what stands
surprising
out.
last year.
That's what stands out to me is Houston being at the bottom there when Oakland and Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Although Cano's finally hitting for Seattle, like the contract they signed him to would dictate. I think LA should be tops there.
Yeah.
I think Texas is a little overrated, but not enough to not be a playoff contender.
Yeah, I think, well, that whole side, they got only one team over 500. But again, who knows what to make of 2 weeks into the season.
That division could be a toss-up.
Oh, I can see that.
Other than last year, Oakland usually competes.
Mm-hmm.
Houston was great last year. Granted, they were the worst team in the league, then competed last year, got a wild card spot. So honestly, I don't know what to expect out of them. Their pitching should lead them to a winning record.
Yeah, we'll have to find out if that last season was a fluke or just a sign of a transition in that division.
And they do strike out a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the Angels should compete when you have Mike Trout and you still have Pujols where he's still a pretty competent hitter.
Mm-hmm. They got that lefty Calhoun. And did I get his name right?
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
I just don't know if he's someone to really write home about.
Well, no, he's good. Power from that side. Well, he got hot last year, and then he cooled off in the second
He's not much
half.
of a power hitter.
Yeah.
He's more of a a runs kind of guy, base runner,
Yeah.
good glove, and he might hit for an average.
Well, certainly the kind of guy I think who could be a difference maker. You know what you're going to get out of Pujols and Trout, and if you get him and a couple other players to jump up, then they should be fine.
Yeah. All right, we'll move to the National League. Start off with the East with the Nationals at 9-1, the Phillies at 5-7, the Mets at 4-6, the Marlins at 3-6, and the Braves at 2-9. And let's. I was gonna say what stands out to you, but honestly,
Nothing.
all 5 teams stand out to me there. What's the most surprising for that division?
On the East?
For you? Yeah.
Well, not the Nationals, the fact that they could start out 9-1 because they're a strong team.
Mm-hmm.
And last year was just the opposite. They had a horrid start, and they finally caught their stride and then finished weak. The Mets, everyone else being under 500 is certainly setting up the Nationals for a quick early lead. So, they could get out there and run away if some of these other teams don't wake up quick.
The Braves are right where I would expect them. Mm-hmm. They have nothing. Mm-hmm. When your best hitter is Nick Markakis, I mean, they have nothing offensively.
Yeah, that's
the
not
Marlins.
A surprise.
The Marlins, I think they should be better. The Marlins should be better. They have some good young pitching. They have Stanton. They have Gordon. They have all the keys they need to be good, but for some reason they can't get it started.
Where'd they finish last year?
I think they were above Atlanta, but they were still.
Well,
they were above Philly too, but they were god awful.
Yeah, could they have been? Did they really, really miss Stanton when he missed the last month or so? Didn't he?
Not. I mean, they were bad. They were bad.
He wasn't going to save them.
No,
okay.
They actually got better, but they had that coaching change. Mm-hmm. They were a mess last year.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a weak division, because you have Philly, who's supposed to be horrid.
Well, 5-7 isn't that great.
Yeah, but I mean, they're above the Mets.
Yeah, the Phillies are overachieving.
Jumps out at me.
Overachieving at 5-7.
They are. They don't have anything.
No.
I would expect Philly to drop the dead last.
The Mets are going to jump up.
The Mets will jump up. The Marlins will jump up, but that's because Philly's moving down. Mm-hmm. I think the Marlins will end up third still.
Yeah, the Mets, with their pitching, again, it's a... Mm-hmm. They won't have long losing streaks. I can't imagine. They've got those stoppers at the top of their rotation.
Well, they almost blew it against the Tribe, where the Tribe scored 4 in the 9th to lose by 1. They beat Harvey yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see. The Indians could maybe bring them down to 4-7.
Well, over the course of a 162 game season, the Mets pitching staff is going to set them up nice.
What are you, a teapot?
Yeah.
Over the course of a 162
season.
You didn't even say season. You said over the course of a 162 season.
Yeah. I think I sprung a leak.
What about the Central? You have the Cubs at 9-2, the Reds at 6-5, along with St. Louis.
That's a strong division.
Pittsburgh at 6-6, and Milwaukee at 5-6.
I think it's great that the Cubs have got out to a fast start, because now people can say, yep, this is the year they can compete. This is maybe the year they dominate their division. If their starting out record had been reversed and they were 2-9, even though people were picking them to be good this year, people were saying, oh, they're going to underachieve again, but they're quick out of the gate, and I think that's real important for them.
Cincinnati jumps out at me. I didn't think they'd have a winning record at this point. They must be playing a lot of games against Atlanta and Miami.
Well, roughly
start off
500.
the season.
Yeah, roughly 500. I think the two teams that are trailing them, the Cards and the Pirates, are better teams.
I do too.
So,
hell, I think the Cubs will take the division. Mm-hmm. I think the Pirates will be right behind them.
Mm-hmm. With the Cardinals are always solid,
but they're going downhill.
Yeah, they're not the same Cardinals they've been in the past.
No, they don't have the offense they used to.
They
used to have that amazing offense and then a bunch of pitching. Now they have a bunch of pitching, and their offense, it's being led by Matt Holliday.
Yeah,
who is not the hitter he used to be.
No, they don't have nearly the team that you you usually expect to see coming out of there. Their pitching is suspect in the fact that Wainwright is coming off an injury. Walker has, after being, having that great start, has been pretty much okay.
Garcia has had injuries. They're tough lefty.
So they're gonna struggle. They're gonna have a rough time making a go of it this year.
Yeah, and Milwaukee's out. Let's just count them out now. And in the West, you have the Giants and LA at the tops with 7-5, Colorado at 6-5, San Diego at 4-8, and Arizona at 4-8. What's jumping out at you there?
Nothing. That's the way I wouldn't be surprised if those standings didn't change all year.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers will eventually surpass the Giants.
Okay.
Puig's going to get going. If he just has a healthy year, he's going to play really well.
Well, he could do something stupid, too, couldn't he?
Well, yeah, but anyone could do something stupid.
Yeah, but there are some guys who have a knack for it.
San Fran is the pitching, but I think as a Giants fan, anyone who's a Giants fan should probably want them in a wild card spot instead. Because they have a good history when they get the wild card spot.
Well, yeah, if you're superstitious and you think that that's where they play good from.
Yeah, underdogs. I think the Dodgers will take that division.
And they have that monster at the top of their rotation, too.
Yeah, Kershaw. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the Giants.
Oh, Bumgarner?
Bumgarner.
Well, still, the Dodgers have Kershaw.
Who's been...
even better.
He's been an animal during the regular season. Now, Bumgarner, he's kind of good in the regular season and untouchable in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Dodgers did lose Greinke. And the Giants added Samardzija and Cueto, but I don't know. I'll go with LA.
Yeah, it has to be one or the other, and it's a toss-up. So, in the interest of just keeping the antagonism going, I'm going to take the Giants.
I'll pick my World Series right now.
Yeah? You will?
Yeah, I picked it before the season started.
Okay.
On opening
what do
day.
you have?
I have the Nationals over the Royals.
Okay.
A lot of people were saying Cubs over the Royals. Okay. I don't think the Cubs are ready. I don't think they're ready for a championship. I don't think these young players are ready for that kind of a playoff run yet. Maybe next year, not this year.
I'm going to pull a pick out of thin air.
Yeah.
It's going to be a repeat of the first World Series ever. Come on, think hard. Pirates,
St. Louis Browns and the Senators.
Pirates, Red Sox.
Really?
There you go. Remember, you heard
Really?
it here.
The
You
Sox?
heard it here first.
What a
Red
homer!
Sox,
Picking
Red
the Sox to win
Pirates.
the World Series.
Yeah, Red Sox. No, they're going to be in. Pirates are going to win. Pirates, Red Sox.
That's such a homer pick.
I thought you were picking the Red Sox to go and lose.
No!
No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's going to be the Nationals over the Royals.
The Royals? Okay. I get the Pirates over the Red Sox.
We'll see what happens. But that's been my pick since the season started. Before the Nationals even started out 9-1.
My pick is going to be great for a couple of reasons, because it's either going to be like a miraculous, you're so smart, Pee-wee, or it's going to be like, what were you thinking of?
All right, we're basically making a playoff sandwich here, where we go from the playoffs of the NBA to baseball, and now the playoffs for the NHL. We have the bracket in front of us. The current matchups we have Florida at a 1 seed, and they're part of the bracket, taking on the Islanders, and that series is 1-1. I'm still not used to seeing Florida as a 1 seed in their little bracket.
Don't they had a great? Yeah, they had a great season, great regular season, second best in their conference overall. They, I like the guy, the Russian guy they picked up, Barkov. He's had a great year. They got a guy in net that has proven he can play in the playoffs. He's been in the finals, with Luongo. He's been there before.
Yeah, until he lets in 8.
Well, he's a big guy. He's a huge guy. I don't know how fast he is or how quick he is or how good he is, but he takes up a lot of net.
I always think he's been overrated.
Yeah, might
always.
Be. But I think they did some smart things picking him up and playing the way they play. The one thing that bugs the hell out of me on the Panthers is when they score, I think it's their first goal, everyone throws a toy rat on the ice. I hate that.
Really?
It holds the whole game up.
That's stupid.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
It should be hat tricks.
Yeah, well,
Hats and rats.
Hats
like,
and rats.
What is it with Detroit? They throw an octopus for a hat trick?
No, they
Or
throw
they
an
used
octopus on during the playoffs. It goes back in the old 16 league. It used to take 8 wins to win, and an octopus had 8 legs. So that's the stupid meaning of the octopus.
And the Panthers throw a rat on the ice to represent that it would take the Black Plague to knock out the other teams for them to win a cup.
I don't know. I'm sure you could find out what that's about. It's probably a throwback. It's several years old, that habit.
Really?
Yeah. It's not this year. It's not just only this year.
Yeah, stupid. Anyways, that series is at 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
The Islanders were a great team last year. I could see the Islanders upsetting Florida.
Well, they got some good players.
But I don't respect Florida. I just can't get it in my head that they're a good team.
Well, this might be the year. Can you imagine? They could match up against the team on the other side of the bracket. Could have it all Florida next round.
So you think they could face off with Tampa Bay?
Yep, I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Who lead Detroit 2-0.
Yes, they won. Tampa Bay won their 2 home games. But at the end of the second game, I don't know if you saw any of that, it was a bloodbath. It was a mess.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the Red Wings.
You usually don't see that in the playoffs.
Well, unless it's a desperation. I think it's a desperation move on the part of the Red Wings.
How are they desperate at 2-0?
Well, the fact that they probably have been outplayed.
But they're two games in Tampa Bay. You have to expect that you're not going to be able to take both. You might take one, but going down 0-2 when you've played both games there isn't necessarily desperation time.
Well, maybe that's an overreaction or overstatement. But I think it's the Detroit saying, okay, it's going to be different at our place. Mm-hmm. Basically saying, okay, this is far from over. It's going to be different when you come up north. And here's a punch in the nose to prove it.
All right. I mean, I like seeing that. That's why I like about hockey.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but in the playoffs, you usually don't see that.
And sometimes it's just a way to change momentum. You see it in a game. Yeah. This might be a way to change the momentum of the series.
A brawl?
Yeah.
A multiple player brawl?
Yeah.
Instead of just a one-on-one fight. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I haven't even seen that out of the Bruins in the playoffs.
When were the Bruins in the playoffs?
Like a few years ago. Did they ever do that in the 60s and 70s? Or
oh, yeah.
Like massive brawls in a playoff game?
Yes. Against the Rangers, there was the thing with Derek Sanderson had 3 fights.
Well, the Rangers
at the same time. Yeah. And then there was a time when mid to late 60s when the Bruins started out against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think Forbes Kennedy fought everyone on the Bruins team and got the crap beat out of them each time. It was horrendous. But, it can happen. It used to happen a lot more, granted, but...
All right, we'll move down to the next series, which is Washington and Philly. Washington has the 2-0 lead.
Yeah, love to see it.
You'd love to see the Capitals?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Philly. I'd like to see the Capitals go away quite a ways this year. I'd like to see them in the finals.
I mean, I think Ovi's 1 goal away from being the all-time leading Caps scorer in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Mason letting in an easy goal the other night.
Ooh.
A nice little...
what? Yeah.
That was the worst goal I've ever seen.
Yeah, I can't think of anything worse, because that was sliding along the ice.
Oh, yeah. Well, it had no elevation, and it was from the blue line, and it had no speed on it.
It wasn't one of these ones where they flip it in and it takes a funky hop, 12 feet out.
Yeah, and if he doesn't touch it, it's not going in the net. The net could have been empty, and it wouldn't have gone in.
Possibly not. It just
the angle wasn't right. Mm-hmm. He stops it with the inside of his left pad, and it goes 5-hole for a goal.
Nice tip in.
You gotta stop that with the stick.
Yeah.
What's he doing trying to smother that between the pads?
Yeah, I don't know. When something like that happens, it has to be you're taking it so nonchalantly that you're probably not. You're not even thinking of the save. In your own mind, you've already stopped the puck, and you're looking up to see
for a pass.
Who you're going to throw it out to. And that's got to be how that type of thing happens. And you just kind of like shift over, tip in the net, and you don't pass to anyone. You give it to the ref. The ref goes in and gets it.
That's the worst goal I've ever seen.
Goalies hate to go in and get the
Especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the playoffs.
Well, yeah. Guy was saying someday he'll laugh about this. It's going to be a ways off, though.
And yeah. Only if he ever gets a cup.
Right, yeah. Then he can have a chuckle.
Yeah. And the next series is Pittsburgh and New York. That series is tied 1-1. Pittsburgh at a 2 seed, I feel, is generous.
Really?
They didn't play that well this year.
But they were hot at the end.
We owned them. The Bruins owned them. How do you let a team like the Bruins own you all season?
Yeah, well, there's always a team that you don't match up against. And they finished so hot at the end that actually when the playoffs started, I was picking them to play in the finals. Just off how hot they were.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I think the Rangers are going to take them down.
It might. Well, at 1-1, maybe they will.
Both teams are very possible of choking.
Yeah. Well, Pittsburgh, they tend to, when they get into a situation in the playoffs where someone stops them or stones them, they have a tendency to go in that direction. They don't seem to be a good bounce back team after they've had some adversity in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, the series could go either way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's way too early to figure it out, but it's 1-1. They go back to New York.
Good point about them not bouncing back from loss as well. And
yeah,
Pittsburgh tends to underachieve in the playoffs.
That's
After those 2 cup appearances back to back, they've always underachieved.
Yeah, they're in a very dangerous spot if you think about it. They win the home opener, they lose the second game at home, then they go back to New York.
Momentum's on New York's side.
If New York's pumped up and then they go down 2-1, 3-1, if New York sweeps the home, then it's probably done.
Pittsburgh has enough talent to lose the next game and still tie it up 2-2.
They absolutely have to come back.
Yeah.
Absolutely have to come back to Pittsburgh tied 2-2, I think.
All right, we'll go out to the West now. We'll start at the bottom of that bracket. You have San Jose and LA, and the Sharks lead that series 2-0. Does that surprise you?
Very surprising. I didn't think the Kings would, with home ice advantage, would drop 2 at home to the Sharks, who have been consistent underachievers in the playoffs. Guys on their team have not come up to snuff in the playoffs. Like Thornton, solid player, but he's got a history in the playoffs of being okay.
That's the best matchup in the playoffs right now.
Well, the guy that's carrying
LA
them,
and San Jose. They're not only are they rivals, but they're playing each other in the first round of the playoffs.
Right, which is great. And the guy that's carrying them is Pavelski. He's hot as heck. So we'll see how long that's if he puts in a strong series, and then the rest of the team, Thornton plays like Thornton can, then they're going to be a hard team to oust.
And they finally have a consistent goalie. San Jose.
Yeah.
They finally have a goalie who's not extremely up or extremely down. They finally have someone who's consistent between the pipes.
Yeah. So you have to have the goaltending. You have to have solid goaltending to go anywhere in the playoffs. You have to have good to great goaltending to go to the finals. And you won't find many Stanley Cup champions who've had average goaltenders or even just pretty good ones. So they have to steal some games.
The next series, Nashville and Anaheim. Anaheim started off so slow out of the gate, finally got it going, and the Predators lead that series 1-0.
That's the start. You really can't tell from one game, other than it kind of serves notice that the Predators, as the wild card team, are not going to roll over and die on them.
Oh, of course not. The Predators didn't start off too hot this season either, and Pekka Rinne's had a little bit of a down year. I think Anaheim's the real deal this year.
You think so?
I thought they were last year, and I think they started off slow this year, and everyone jumped off the wagon, but I still think they're a real cup contender. Getzlaf is fine, Perry's fine. They have a bunch of other players that are great in their roles, and they finally have some consistent goaltending in Gibson and Anderson.
Yeah, Perry started off kind of slow, but he hit his stride, and now he's...
So did Getzlaf. The entire team did.
Yeah, so... Well, that's what, like you said, that's why a lot of people jumped off the bandwagon. It's a long season. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
They're too good to have that bad of a season. You knew they were going to come on.
Yeah. They're no flash in the pan.
No, not at all. Hell, I might even pick them for the cup. Next series is Chicago and St. Louis, and that series is tied 1 game apiece.
Which is a nice spot for Chicago to be in.
And
It opened up in St. Louis, and they won the second game.
And that's a bit of a rivalry.
Yeah. For the St. Louis fans, Chicago's got
No,
rivalries everywhere.
Chicago fans hate St. Louis fans.
Yeah.
Because St. Louis fans always rough them, or St. Louis players always rough them up. It's
Oh.
kind of like the Bruins and the Pens. Pens fans hate the Bruins, because we always rough them up.
What? Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, whenever I meet someone from Pittsburgh, they'd be like, I'd be like, I'm a Bruins fan. They'd be like, oh,
Dude.
then I can't be friends with you.
Dude.
You'll hate me. It was like, why? Because I'm a Pens fan. I don't care about the Pens. I don't consider the Pens a rival. They consider us a rival because we always beat up on them. Not only scoreboard-wise, but physicality-wise.
Well, maybe now, but you don't remember the history far enough back to when the Pens got their first two cups was against the Bruins. And the first one, the Bruins were favored to bounce them in the next to the last series. And, they didn't. People said the Penguins' defense back then was no good, but they stood up and they played defense.
Yeah, but the people who are considering us a rival who I'm meeting are my age or younger. They don't remember that either.
I don't know.
They just remember us bouncing them recently. It's kind of like the Browns and the Steelers. Browns fans consider the Steelers a rival. The Steelers just shake off the Browns like a little gnat that flew on them.
Yeah, there are those people who say that
it's not a rivalry unless it's both teams beating up on each other.
For a rivalry to exist, it can't be one-sided.
Yeah.
Well, other sports, you hear that too. For years, the Red Sox-Yankees, people used to say, oh, the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry. The Yankees always beat them.
Yeah, but Yankee fans always hated the Red Sox with a passion.
Yeah, I get it. I thought it was the same thing back then. They just kind of brush you off. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, who was their rival then? Tampa Bay?
We're just waiting for you to choke. Yeah.
Anyway, St. Louis and Chicago. I think Chicago will eventually take that series, but St. Louis definitely has a chance because it's that rival factor. Anything could happen in a rivalry.
Well, they were talking about, with Hitchcock, the coach of the Blues. I watched a little of that interview or presser, and he was saying that they didn't like some of the calls. I guess some of the players were griping about some of the calls in that game, and he was telling them, I don't want to hear about calls. You're going to get calls both way. You're going to get breaks. He says, this is the playoffs. You push through it. You're going to have to push through it. If you're going to focus on the things that went wrong or the things that didn't go your way, then you might as well just mail it in, because to go anywhere, you have to push through the bad calls. And I've seen teams do it. I think a couple of years ago, the Blackhawks, they got a horrendous call against the Red Wings. I forget exactly what it was, but it almost looked. It was in a Game 7 in the preliminary rounds, and they had to bounce back in overtime to win. So.
All right, and the last matchup is Minnesota and Dallas already leads that series 2-0.
Yeah, that was weird.
I don't think Minnesota has a chance.
Doesn't look like it. At the second wild card, obviously they're playing like the second wild card on the other side, the Flyers. They're playing, we're here. We're happy to be here. We're still setting up our tee times for next week.
Yeah, and it's not that Minnesota's really bad. It's just that Dallas is really good.
Yeah.
And now they have Sagan back.
Yeah. So. Well, the one thing I will say about the Wild is I like their goaltender. I like Dubnyk. He may steal a game or two for them. But boy, they had a horrid goal. I don't know if you saw the crazy goal that got scored against them.
I don't think so, no.
No, it was, the puck went by the net, was off the boards. They kind of pushed it back out front. It hit the back of someone's skate, went up in the air, landed on Dubnyk's back, and he had it pinned against the crossbar. And then when he tried to jam it in there, he pushed the net off its moorings, and the puck landed in the goal scoring area. And they had to review it a couple times. They waved it off at first, and then they called it good. It was a freak. If you get a chance to see it, that was a freaky looking goal.
Huh.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So
and they won 2-1.
Do you have a favorite for the Cup?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Caps.
Boy, I do want to take Anaheim, but I don't, because I feel like that's a lot of people picking them. Now that people are back on that bandwagon, I'd be perfectly fine picking Dallas.
Okay. That'd be a nice final. Caps
And
Dallas.
of course, Chicago's always in it. Granted, I think Crawford's very overrated.
They're solid, but you know, I've seen enough of them. I'd like to see something new.
Yeah, I'd go with Dallas. Dallas and Capitals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cup. And I'd be okay with either of them winning.
Before anything started to shake up, I thought it was going to be Pens Blackhawks, but you know what? I don't want to see that, so I'm not going to pick it.
That sounds boring.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, that about does it for the NHL side, but the AHL are heading into their playoffs after today. Today's their last day of regular season games. And the way that's shaping up so far, Hershey is in the playoffs, the Bears. The Providence Bruins are in the playoffs. Their seeding is still going to be determined. Penguins AHL, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton Penguins are in the playoffs, along with the Portland Pirates. I don't know who they're affiliated with anymore. They move around every year. And the Bridgeport Sound Tigers are still in contention for a playoff spot. The Toronto Marlies are in the playoffs. Albany Devils are in the playoffs, and the Utica Comets are in there. A lot of seeding still to be determined, and the Syracuse Crunch are also in contention for that last spot. And now in the West, you have the Milwaukee Admirals, the Lake Erie Monsters, the Rockford Ice Hogs, and the Grand Rapids Griffins are all in the playoffs.
Go Monsters.
And in the Pacific, you have the Ontario Reign, the San Diego Gulls, which I believe are new, Texas Stars are all in the playoffs, with the San Jose Barracuda and the Charlotte Checkers competing for that last spot.
Ah, okay. I see. Yeah, okay, I see how that works. Yep, there'll be no one else from the Pacific Division. But the Barracudas are not that good. So,
What?
The Monsters...
What about the Barracudas?
Well, they're fourth in the Pacific Division, but they're way far behind the Checkers and the Wolves in the Central. So.
No, they could still beat out the Checkers.
I don't see it happening, though.
Yeah, I don't know how that's possible. This map is very off.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of predict.
Well, they're saying they could still make a playoff spot with 71 points. The Checkers have 80 points. How can they get 9 points in one game?
Unless of course that there's one wild card from each division and not two wild cards from the whole conference or whatever.
Yeah, but then how would the Checkers be in contention then? Grand Rapids already has a spot. They already have their 4. I don't know what's going on.
I was looking at this earlier, and we're just going to have to wait to see how this plays out because the AHL looks kind of weird.
Yeah, it's hard to get good AHL coverage, especially out here. I don't know how the playoffs are shaping up. But here are the scenarios. I'm going to list of the scenarios here.
Oh, okay.
San Jose will clinch a playoff spot with a point versus Stockton. So they have to at least take Stockton to OT.
Okay.
Charlotte clinches a playoff berth if San Jose loses in regulation. So if San Jose loses, Charlotte makes it. I don't know how that's possible when there's so many points ahead of them. I have no idea.
It doesn't make any sense to me either.
Why is the AHL... Why can't it just be NHL mini version?
Why can't... Yeah.
Same exact playoff issue.
Actually, I wish they played all of the teams at least once or twice.
Yeah, we never get to see the Bruins.
They don't cross over. We don't get to see Providence and all that.
Providence will clinch a second seed in the Atlantic with a point at Bridgeport, or Wilkes-Barre Scranton loss at Hershey. Doesn't matter if they lose in regulation, OT, or shootout. Just have to lose. Wilkes-Barre Scranton clinches the second seed with a win and a Providence regulation loss.
Too complicated.
Yeah, and this makes more sense than the actual standings.
Really?
That I was looking at.
Okay. Well, at least someone's done the homework on it.
I don't understand how it works. Portland clinches a 4th seed in the Atlantic with a point at Springfield. So they just need to take them to overtime or win, or a Bridgeport loss. Bridgeport clinches the 4th with a win against Providence and a Portland loss. And Utica clinches the 3rd seed with a win versus Binghamton, or a Bridgeport regulation loss, or something else I don't feel like reading.
Yeah, I think, it's just gonna, it's just way too many. Imagine if everything was close, if everything was up in the air, positions 1 through 4, how disturbing this would sound. So I have no interest in trying to figure that out. I'm just gonna wait till they start and say, okay, who now?
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah. Just gonna show up at the queue.
I thought I understood it when I was looking it up earlier today, and now I realize that the points are so far off. I trusted the graphic. The graphic was wrong.
I would say that you just wait for them to start and see who's in there. There might even be some coin flips involved.
This is like doing your taxes. It's like you have to follow 5A to the 5A section.
There are coin flips involved. There's probably
crossover
back alley
games.
Payments to league officials.
There could be crossover games.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. I don't understand the
point
of that.
I saw that too. I don't understand what that could mean too. So that's why I'm leaving it alone.
A crossover berth?
I'm leaving
Anyway,
it alone.
if the playoffs start today, Hershey's playing Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Providence is playing Wilkes-Barre, Scranton.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto and Bridgeport.
Mm-hmm.
Albany and Utica. Milwaukee and Grand Rapids. Lake Erie will be taking on Rockford.
The Hogs.
Ontario and San Jose, and San Diego and Texas.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that...
That's a good game, Lake Erie and Rockford.
And I'm pretty sure that's locked in.
Is it locked in?
And
so we're going to take on the Ice Hogs.
The first round is a 5-game series.
Okay.
And the 2 games are on the Ice Hogs. Those 2 and 3, which I hate. First 2 games
are in Rockford?
Rockford.
And then the next 3 are in Lake Erie.
Three.
How is that even home ice advantage?
I know,
for us?
that's pretty much a toss-up.
Because then we have to win 3 in a row if we go down 2 at Rockford.
If you don't split,
the
AHL, behind the 8 ball.
The AHL needs to completely overhaul this because it's absolutely stupid the way their playoffs are set up.
I thought the NBA used to do this too early on. I could be wrong.
Every single thing about the AHL playoffs is wacky.
It's funky, yeah.
It's so simple. 16 teams, a normal tournament, send them.
Yeah.
You don't need crossover games and the weird setup for home ice. And hell, even just make it 7-game series every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That crossover must refer to the fact that they'll be playing someone they haven't played all year. You know, if they get to play someone over on the other side or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know what that could mean, but it's got to be wacky.
That about does it here for Spoiled Sports in our 5th podcast episode. I'm Boston Bob.
And I'm Pee-wee, and I'm about to go out and get some sunshine.
Pee-wee's going fishing.
Yep.
Right?
I'll throw a line in the water if I get a chance later today.
Don't you have to put your rod together still?
Yep. No problem.
Waiting till the last minute?
No problem.
How much fishing did you do last year?
Like once or twice. It was a horrible year.
I didn't think you went out at all.
No, I did go out early. That's when I discovered that my equipment needed a lot of work, and I never got around to doing much with it. But this year's going to be different.
All right, well, this episode's over, so we can go fishing. See you later.
Yeah.